Hello everyone, hope you've had a good weekend. Today is March the 10th, Sunday, and what we're going to do today is we're going to roll out three videos. In the first video, we're going to go over the weekly analysis of, we're going to try and figure out the weekly outcome of dollar, yen, and Swiss franc, the safe havens, from a higher time frame perspective, of course. And in the second video, we're going to go over Aussie, Kiwi, and CAD, all the commodity currencies. And then in the third video, we're going to do euro and pound. So this is going to be the first video of the weekly analysis of trying and figure out what the uh, next week is holding up for these specific currencies. I mean, it can be wrong, it can be right. It's not 100% that it's going to be right, but this is what we do, right? We put in the work and then we try and figure out if we can get entries on these things. Anyway, without wasting any further time, let's just get into the economic calendar first and see what the next week holds. So on Monday, tomorrow, we have yen GDP. And nothing of a lot of significance later on. Probably Eurogroup meetings will somehow move the markets. I'm not sure. And then on Tuesday, we have German CPI, high impact. We have a little bit of pound news, and we have dollar CPI. That is going to move the markets. So it's going to be a busy day, Tuesday. Wednesday also, we have GDP on pound, quite a bit of other news too, trade balance, stuff like that. On euro, we have European Central Bank non-monetary policy meetings and crude oil inventories on dollar. I don't really know how crude oil inventories affect the markets, but what we need to see is if a movement's been done on any specific currency um, as a reaction of any news event, right? And then we'll just be there to try and get in on that. On Thursday, we have OPEC monthly report. We have core retail sales on dollar. We have PPI on dollar, jobless claims on dollars. So also going to be a busy day. And then on Friday, we have quite a bit of news, but nothing of high impact. So again, we'll have to see if a certain news moves the markets, and then we'll be able to try and get in on it. Anyway, without wasting any further time, let's get into the dollars. Okay. So on the daily time frame, the thing about dollar is Aussie dollar to begin with, Australian dollar, US dollar. To begin with, is that this is an area that was left untouched, right? All of this area, as price went through this, it came all the way back up to pull back and then went all the way down, right? No lower low. I wouldn't consider this a lower low. Then prices chop around, come all the way down to here, and then for the past week, the prices just bought massively, right? So now it's in a bit of a dangerous area to continue to buy. I mean, it could continue to buy if you take a look at a lower time frame. Of course, this 240 has broken through this resistance, if you may. But the reaction from the top of the cell is also pretty strong. It's going to hold here, it could range here, it could break above and then continue to go. Or it could break below this and then continue to go lower. Because if I clear all of these brushes, if I go, yeah, so on 240, this specific time frame is what we're talking about right now. On 240, if as we've seen it happen on euro yen last week, on CAD yen last week, uh, this is what my attention comes to. This is the buyer on 240 that went through all of that resistance, right? All of this resistance that was holding for a very long time, tried to sell, could not sell. On this time frame, yeah, you have lower lows, holding below, then the price coming back inside and then holding high, and of course the buys did come back in. But now on this time frame, you can see that this is the little bit of a stop, and then the buyer buys, goes through that resistance. If you fall below this resistance, you're gonna go lower. But if you take a look at 60, for the prices to continue to go higher, okay, keep that in mind. For the prices to continue to go higher, we are going to have to go through this area. I mean, of course, on Monday you can see price is starting to buy and stuff like that. But at this point in time, yes, the momentum on the buys is so strong, but it's in a dangerous area. It's in a dangerous area for the buys to continue. So what I am hoping for, let's just take a look at what happened in NFP last week, because I wasn't really trading. It's gonna show me yesterday. Let's try and figure it out. No, 8th, apply. Okay. So what happened with NFP? Oh, so the NFP came out pretty strong, and yet dollar was weak. Maybe because of the unemployment rate, whatever. But the NFP came out so strong, and then the dollar got pretty weak. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Average earning got lesser, average hourly earning got lesser, but NFP. So it came out as 229K last month. It was expected to be 198K, that is lower than 229K, but it came out as 275K. So it's better than last month, and it's way better than what it was expected to be. Same is the case with private non-farm payrolls, right? So this could be, the sells on dollars could be because of manipulation, because everyone's looking to sell and stuff like that. And now what I would like to see in Aussie dollar personally is price probably holds for a little bit on Monday, breaks through on Tuesday, and with CPI we go lower. That's what I want to see on Aussie dollar. Okay, euro dollar. Daily time frame, are we? Yeah, so again, it's a different story on euro dollar now, right? You can see that we've gone through this seller that was, holding, making lower highs, lower lows, cannot go lower, and then the price breaks through this after euro interest rate, and this is on Thursday, and then on Friday, the prices just, you know, couldn't go anywhere with NFP, right? Tried to buy, could not buy. It's coming down now. What I would like to see on this time frame is the prices break below this, do a little bit of a range, go lower. But for me to get in on the sell side on this, I would want to see the prices go through this. I mean, of course, this I can term this as a secondary buy, this as the primary buy that went all the way up to there. If you come down on a lower time frame, you're able to see that there's a pullback and a strong push higher, and then the prices are coming down now. If you go through this lower with force, yeah. So if you go through this with a bit of force involved, and then the pullback obviously has got to be choppy, it could go lower. But for it to go any higher now, it would have to come all the way down to test this area. For me to be involved in on the buys, it will have to come down to test hereabouts at least, because if we keep going down lower on time frames, right, this is the last bit of sell that happened that got wrong footed. Even if we go on the lower time frame, should we be able to see, yeah, so this is the seller that sold from this resistance, got miserably wrong footed, and I would want to see the prices come down into this area for the continuation of the buys. But if, of course, the price action is going to show us what's going to happen, so we will have to be careful. It is setting up for, maybe a shift in direction. I'm not very sure at the moment. We'll have to see how the markets open on Monday, and then Tuesday we have CPI, so it will be, you know, have it would have sorted out what it wants to do by then, right? Uh, Quickly gonna go through pound dollar. What a massive trade that was missed on Tuesday, on Thursday. Yeah, so we were looking to buy it, went all the way up to there, and on daily time frame, it's gone through so many levels. But again, here's the thing, right? If you take a look at this from the perspective I am looking at it, after this push down, every Tom, Dick, and Harry got in on the sell side. Even I was sell biased on this chart at that point. Of course, I did not take a sell because the price action was showing me that it's not going to be a sell. But now, everyone's selling here, everyone's selling here, everyone's selling here. The price pushed through, went through all of this. It is higher at the moment. If you take a look at 240, Delete all the drawings. If you take a look at here, 60, it's all buyers at the moment. So what I would want to see on pound dollar is prices to go through at least this with some force and then pull back to go lower if it is going to go lower. At this point in time, of course, the playground is that of a buyer, but after all of this mess is when it went higher. So it could be, because everyone is selling, stop losses above this. This could be that liquidity or stop loss on or whatever you want to call it, right? It could be that. So let's see how the price unfolds, how the price develops over the period of time before CPI, and we'll see what we want to do. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, again, it's in an area where it should be very interesting for the sell side. Of course, we can see how choppy the buy is. An interest rate on Kiwi pushed the prices lower very sharply. Now the price is coming up sharp, but not as sharp as it dropped down, and it's getting a rejection from up there. So this adds a little bit more to the bias of dollar getting stronger. But I would want to see the prices go through this and then a pullback to go lower, all the way down to here, if not lower. Gonna go through US dollar, Swiss franc again. See, here's the thing. I mean, of course, the dollar has been pretty weak overall, but take a look at this. Where the price is at right now. It's such a clear buyer, and it's just on one set. So this could probably be to turn people to the wrong direction, to the opposite side in the markets. It could come down, roll over, go higher, who knows. But this is what I'm looking for on this. I would want to see it, attempt to go higher because this buyer still in play. This buyer is still in play, still wants to buy. We still haven't gone through. So we'll see. US dollar CAD. Okay, again, so on US dollar CAD, you're in an area from where the buy happened, went all the way up to there. So you're still inside the, you tried to go through, you could not go through, you're still inside this buyer. Same thing as on dollar Swiss franc, more or less, right? Okay, so this also, again, I will be looking for a rollover to buy, and then comes the king of price action from last week, yen. I don't know what this chart wants to do because for the rest of the dollars, it looks like the dollar is going to get stronger. But if you take a look at this, of course, where the buy started, did three different legs, but you can more or less consider it as one buy. It's the price has gone so far down, it has not tested any of these levels, so there could be a test up probably in this area, but I'm not too sure about this currency pair, so I'm not going to trade this. I generally do not trade dollar yen also, unless, of course, there is a very clear chance. Okay, so this is what was about dollar. Swiss franc, I'm not always very keen in trading Swiss franc, but if you take a look at the higher time frames, uh, this is a buyer, so the price, if cannot hold here, goes lower, then of course we're gonna go lower all the way down to there. Otherwise, we're gonna test this and go higher. CAD Swiss franc still looks like it's in a buyer's territory. The buyer is still in play, this buyer. So you tried to go through, you could not go through, you came back up, you put in a higher high, a higher low, and you're just holding sideways now. So it could come into this area and continue to go higher. Dollar Swiss franc we've already talked about. It's in a very interesting area for the continuation of the buys that went through this sell. This biggest sell went through this, so interested on the buy side on this. Aussie Swiss franc, we've already discussed that. Okay, Euro Swiss franc. So the entity in play at the moment is a buyer, so it could test into these areas and go higher all the way up to the top of this range. So Swiss franc is inclining towards being pretty weak. Pound Swiss franc, of course, there were nice trades on pound Swiss franc along the past week, even the week before. Now I will want to see the prices come down into these areas and then go higher. Yeah, you've gone through this, so you have quite a bit of room to travel to the upside. Um, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, not really sure what it wants to do because Here's the thing, right? On the daily time frame, this is the buyer that bought and then seller very sharply. Now you're inside that same area, you're testing that area, could be a rollover to go lower. So I wouldn't term this as, you know, Swiss franc getting weaker. But throughout the rest of the Swiss francs, I mean, Aussie Swiss franc looks Swiss franc weaker, CAD Swiss franc weaker, uh, dollar Swiss franc, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be dollar Swiss franc. Swiss franc looks like it's going to be weaker. Euro Swiss franc, same thing. Pound Swiss franc, same thing. New Zealand dollar Swiss franc, because New Zealand dollar could be inclining towards weakness. And then Swiss franc yen, of course. I mean, we discussed this past week. Pullbacks came up into here. Now the prices have gone lower than this area. So when any pullback into this area is going to continue to go lower. These are the targets, if not lower. Okay, so this was about Swiss franc. Let's quickly keep getting rid of these things. Swiss franc weak. And then, of course, yen. I am still very interested in the continuation to yen strength. CAD yen, Euro yen, Swiss franc yen. Aussie yen needs to go through this to continue to go lower. Dollar yen, I'm not very sure. Kiwi yen has gone through this, so any pullback into this area is for sell, and pound yen needs to go through this to continue to sell. We discussed this multiple times, right? But I'm still inclined on yen strength coming in for the rest of the month, right? Okay. So this was about the safe havens. We're not too sure what dollar wants to do. We have CPI on Tuesday, and we'll see how things start to unfold until the time of CPI is near. Otherwise, Swiss franc looks like it's gonna get weaker for the rest of the month or the coming week at least. And yen, of course, looking for yen strength. Massive, massive yen strength. Okay. All right, this is pretty much about it for this video. In the next video, we're going to do Aussie, Canadian dollar, and Kiwi dollar. All right, cheers, guys.